our teachings, our fundamental rights in some of the process. Uh, in these discussions, another note is there are federal laws in terms of sentencing. And so with some of the former cases, like Tiffany Lee's case, the family, uh, it took a toll on the family in terms of if they wanted to support the death penalty or not. So we'll be working with our we call them AUSA, our Attorney General's office, in understanding or giving a brief training to the task force on the different federal laws when it comes to prosecution and sentencing of violent perpetrators in Indian country. What are some of our options? And how the task force then can make recommendations, how the family can be empowered to be part of those discussions, as it's a core element in the Victim Rights Act and initiative. So I just wanted to give us a brief overview as folks get on the line, um, and also the work that we're doing. Malcolm, thank you for joining us as the for criminal investigators. We're hoping that we get someone from the police department on the line. I know that last week Sergeant was on the call, and that was very valuable to, oh, Chief Silversmith, Yat Ewa, thank you for joining us. Last week we did have Sergeant on the line, and it was very valuable to start connecting the dots in terms of the work we're doing and the tribal community response plan and how that plays a part with some of our criminal um, amendments that are creating. But I want to pause there. Relatives, we did receive an email from a family, and so I did invite them to join our call today. Um, Kayla is on the line. She's the sister of a missing relative, and so they have reached out for support. They're coordinating with the amazing team of Four Corners Canine Search and Rescue. And so I wanted just to give space to Kayla. This task force. These are our core meetings, which means we're more focused on action items, getting not only sharing information, but also, creating that change. So this is a safe space to have those conversations. What also I want to let you know, Kayla, is this is a semi-public setting. And so just want to make sure that you're connected to an advocate, but we're going to give you the floor on what you feel is valuable to share with the task force so that we could help with either recommendations or helping you navigate the Navajo Nation system when it comes to a missing relative, or if there's other, like if there's another city or town that's involved. This is an area where we can collectively provide our resources to help support you. So, Kayla, you can get off of mute if you want right now. You just do start. Yep, you got it. And so you have the floor to share what you want to share with us and how we could support.
Thank you, Ms. Crotty. I definitely appreciate your time and your invite to join your meeting. My name is Kayla Benali, Tachini Nishle, Torachini Bashishchin, Auto Look Dene Dashiche Ashi Dashanella, Begashibitwa de Nasha. I was raised in Cal Springs, Arizona, and I currently live in New Mexico with my husband. My mother is the late Evelyn Shortman Bradley from Cal Spring, and my father is Aaron Mark Bradley, and my father is the one who is missing. I'm joined here also with my younger sister. Her name is Karen Bradley. We have an older sister, Kimberly, and a brother, Derek. My dad has been missing since September 6th. He was last seen at Shanto Marketplace on Saturday, September 6th. We did file a missing person report here, and it was during this time we didn't hear from him. We also couldn't reach him by phone. So my husband and I went to Cal Springs to go check on him. We discovered that his house door was open as well as his gate. We also saw that the living room window was broken, and it appears there may be an altercation in the home. Um, his personal belongings that he always carried with him were all left in the house. That included a backpack, which he carried snacks and his insulin medication. He always had those items with him whenever he left the home. That was even like if he went on hikes or walks. So this is my dad, a recent picture of him. Um, the police did come. They did the initial sweep of the house, but it was a few days later, we did discover some bloody clothes under a dresser in the living room. We've been working with a police officer and a detective. Um, we did notify them that of those bloody clothes items, um, but they have not directed us what to do with the items. In fact, we still have those clothes still at the house. Um, we on November 14th, the detective did state that there were not continue any more searches on his missing person case, and that was being referred to a criminal investigator for further investigation. And on November 25th, I called the officer, and at the time she stated there was no update. And when I asked her about the bloody clothes items, what we should do with it at that point, she did not have a response. And she said that uh, we did get the contact information for the CI. When I did call him, he said he still has not received a referral for the case. So this has been ongoing since September. Um, and so September 25th is the last contact I had with anyone from the police. Since then, we have not heard any updates. We have organized 12 searches in Shanto and Cow Spring, one search in Red Mesa, and then comprehensive searches in Flagstaff, Page, and Farmington, including homeless shelters, parks, and halfway homes. And then my sisters and I continued checks with county and state jails, hospitals, and morgues, but nothing as of yet. Um, During the search in Cal Springs, we did have Nation Police did come out with a cadaver dog, and I believe they did 3 searches. Four Corners Canine Search and Rescue also came, and Zip Eugene Search and Rescue Team, um, and including volunteer searches. So altogether, so far, we've done 12 searches. During these searches, it was discovered his jacket about a mile west of Shanto Marketplace, and his house keys were also discovered within that area as well. Um, his phone and wallet are still missing. Sorry. Um, since September, there's been no activity on his credit cards, medical insurance. He does have a history of using alcohol, so we thought maybe he might have checked into a rehab center, but we've been keeping tabs on his insurance. Nothing has been paid out. He's very good at paying his bills on time. Um, his September and October bills remained unpaid. So from here, we started paying his bills. Um, and the last ping on his cell phone was between Shanto Market and his home. He was very good at keeping a personal journal, so we did create a timeline where he was in Cortez, Farmington, and Red Mesa. He did return home on September 2nd in Cal Springs. And again, he was last seen on September 6th. There was unusual activity a week before he disappeared that he spoke about in his journal. It included a domestic dispute with his girlfriend. She's the one that lives in Red Mesa. Um, and in his journal, he also mentioned that she only wanted, there was arguments about his money. He did reference another lady who lives in the Bluff area, who during a week before his disappearance took him to 2 banks And we also discovered that he was requesting a restraining order on this lady for an incident similar to how we found the home with a broken window, broken vases, and her coming toward him aggressively. Um, that we know of, these two ladies have been questioned, but we're still unable to search around their home. And both these ladies have not come forward to the immediate family with any information, have not contacted us, have not reached out. Um, and we also just recently learned that these two ladies were friends, that they know of one another. Um, we we've been initially looking for information. We did get in contact with Bernadine. She has been really helpful on linking us with resources and did set us up with, I believe it was Laurel, for some counseling services, which we're really appreciative of, with victim witness services. And then also Renee Bernard, excuse me, from Pinion, from Zithia Gin Search and Rescue has also been very helpful with us, giving us tips as we continue to do searches in our area. And then my younger sister, Karen, um, had a friend who referred her to Chastity Sandoval, I believe. Um, and from there, it really opened the door and was able to lead us to your group. And Darlene Gomez did reach out. She said she was going to share with her media contacts. And then Ms. Crotty invited us to attend this meeting. And then we were able to share our information with Navajo Times. So they did an article last Thursday. Since then, we've been, well, since the beginning, we've been reaching out to media, but we just kind of been hitting a brick wall on trying to get the information out. We did create a Facebook page at Help Find Aaron Mark Bradley, and that's been really helpful. We also have a candlelight vigil, excuse me, planned for this Saturday at Shanto Chapter from 4 to 5 p.m. We chose that date because that's my dad's birthday. Um, and So I believe that's pretty much what we've done at this point. Um, it's been a very tough journey, and I'm just very appreciative that we were finally able to reach y'all to just hear our story. I It really gives, I think, validation to what we've been trying to do, and just what we can do further. We've never experienced anything like this before, so we're just asking for help and resources, tips, ideas on what more we could do to try and find our dad. He is 67 years old. The photo that I did show here, he has tattoos on both his arms. So this is the photo we've been sharing because it's most recent. It shows his tattoos. And then this other photo with is more recent of how he looks more close up. But I think that's all I have for now. So thank you, Akat, for your time. I appreciate it.
Oh yeah, thank you. Shadija, so Sheikh Ani Nishla, the Viking people Bashichin, Deschini Deshache, the Irish people Deshanale. I apologize, I didn't establish relations with you. But what I want to do is, Andrea, working with Bernadine and your team there at Four Corners Canine Search and Rescue, could you give our team an update? And I just want to recognize that Chastity is on the line. We served together in the New Mexico Missing Persons State Task Force. So thank you, Chastity, for connecting all of us. Let me pause real quick before I go to Andrea. Chastity, did you want to say anything in terms of helping the family and as an advocate?
Oh, yeah, shada. Okay, honest she ya chastity and she tusk in schligo hushklish bashachin, chisha take kitlatini national. I miss you all. I recognize some familiar faces and friends here. Kayla, I want to just acknowledge your bravery and courage to be here this morning to share your story and your family story. I can send you my phone number if you can text me here and there to check in to let me know how you all are doing. And I'll do my best to be on this side to help you. Currently, I changed roles. I do miss the task force and doing a lot of MMIP work, but my creator has taken me into another direction and to work for behavioral health entities now for the state. So I will put in my email in the chat as well. If anybody has questions or just needs some resources and support, please reach out to me. Thank you.
Oh, yeah, well, thank you. Appreciate it. And, the work that we do collectively just helps and supports our family. So I'm glad that we have always connected and stay the network for our families. Andrea, are you prepared or could you give us just some insight in terms of Four Corners Canine Search and Rescue? And in your experience, what are some next steps and how we could support Kayla and the family? Sorry. If you're able to, there you go.
Good morning, Shade, Delegate Crotty, and good morning, Kayla. This is Andrea. I know we haven't met. I wasn't in attendance for the searches that were done. I know one was done on November 16th. So I don't have much update at the moment. My sister was the one that did that search, and unfortunately, around that time when I wasn't there, my father had passed. So at that time, I was taking care of some things afterwards for him. So I don't have much update on that from
And
my sister.
Andrea, oh, it's okay. On these calls, remember, we don't really talk about case in, updates because of the investigation.
Okay.
But would you be able to just provide what some additional supports we can do, where we could support Kayla and her family in continuing to look for their dad from your perspective?
Oh, okay. Yes. Let's see. Um, were you able, I know you said they mentioned the court has been, I mean, the officer has sent the case to CI. Have you connected with the missing persons unit, particularly Miss Juliana Begay?
I'm not too sure with if they're part of the missing unit, but we were working with Detective Benali.
Okay.
Yeah, and he was the one who did organize the three searches, and they did have, I believe, seven other officers there, as well as a cadaver dog. And
Okay.
they initially they really focus on within it's a 3 mile radius from Shanto Market to my dad's home. So they really focus heavily on that area. But the last contact I had was on November 14th with Detective Benali. At that point, he did state that they were gonna stop doing searches and that it was gonna be referred to a CI.
Okay. And that was the last contact or update or communication between you and them, right?
Yeah, as far as the Detective Benali, and then November 25th, I did speak with an officer from Kansas District. But still at that time, I believe the case wasn't referred yet to the CI.
Okay. So I suggest, and we can send you their info, because right now you're requesting one, what you're supposed to do with the clothing or the evidence that was collected, right, from law enforcement,
Yes,
and then also what the next steps are, correct?
yes.
Okay, if you haven't yet, I suggest including your CR, what officers that have been present that gave you your contacts, and including Juliana Bigay. She's the supervisor there with the missing persons unit, and maybe Chief Silversmith and Hendersmith in this email where it's all addressed to them, asking these questions about what is going to be done next with the searches or any additional searches, and what about the clothing that was collected, and any other further information that you're requesting from law enforcement.
Okay, thank you.
And we could get you those contacts. And as far as the counseling services, are you still needing additional help with that?
No, I don't think at this time, we just, as of yesterday, we, made contact with, I believe Miss Shepherd and her team.
Okay, yeah,
Um,
Laurel. Yeah,
Mhm.
okay. And then media, you said Darlene is helping you guys with media?
She did send an email saying she was gonna reach out to her sources yesterday.
Okay. And then you did your last media was with Navajo Times, right?
Yes,
Okay. And Facebook page have you been getting any leads through Facebook that you guys created?
Um, we have, we have been getting some leads with, people who have said they seen him on the highway.
Mhm.
So we, got, locations for where he was. Primarily it was between Red Mesa heading to Kanta.
Okay.
But they are not specific to that time frame he went missing. It's been more during the summer.
Oh, okay. So when he was already out and about, right?
Yes,
Okay. And let me see. Oh, the searches, I know there's another boots on the ground team with is it Reynard?
yes,
Okay. And then I know we've done a couple searches, and the law enforcement are also doing searches on that. I just suggest if you could request maps from them if they are keeping maps, so that way you have an idea of what sections are already being searched, and what has been ruled out already. Have they given you any maps from the other organizations and agencies?
no, no maps.
Okay. Did I think my sister, she printed out a map for you, right?
Not that I know of, she might have sent it to one of my other two sisters.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, I'll need to check.
Okay, yeah, please double check on that. And then if you when you get a moment, if you guys could ask them for maps that they can give you, so that way you guys have a general idea of what areas have been searched, so you're not just going over the area again, and there can be a focus on another area.
Okay. I did have I guess a comment on that. We did have, initially when he went missing, that 1 mile stretch between, the Shanto Market going, west. We had a volunteer group do a search on the highway.
Yeah.
And I believe police also did a search there. But then they actually did a third sweep of that same area with, Renard's, search and rescue team.
Mhm.
And at that time, they did locate, my dad's jacket. Um, so that was quite interesting. So we don't know how that jacket came to be, if there was other two previous searches in the exact same area. Um, but just to make a mention on the covering the same area, but it was on the actual third search of the area that, his jacket was located.
Okay. And did the CI collect that?
So this, yes, so the police took it in evidence, when Renard's team found it.
Okay.
Um, the question I also posed to the detective and the officer was, if we're able to identify the jacket. The jacket did have the name A. Bradley on the jacket. However, my dad has, six other brothers with A. Bradley. all the same first name. And we were told that the jacket is in evidence and we wouldn't be able to see it. So we, as a family, were never able to confirm that was my dad's jacket.
Okay. So they didn't give you any kind of even description of the jacket, like what it looks like?
Yeah, there was no description, no photo. So all we were told was that his jacket was found and it was put into evidence. But that I know of, me or my immediate family have not identified that jacket. I'm only assuming that they went off the name A. Bradley, to confirm it was his. Or I don't know if what was in the pockets. It might have been identification. But my dad does have six other brothers in the Decanta area who all have a Bradley as well.
Okay. Thank you. That's a good note to make. Okay. And Reynard's side, they didn't collect any pictures of that to share with you.
He did show like the color of the coat, but it was really a close-up photo of either one of the shoulders.
Okay.
So I didn't see the photo in whole.
Okay. All right. Um, and for today, that you've reached out to us, is there anything more specifically that you're needing assistance with?
Um, I do. Since this, I think we just passed 100 days since he's been missing. We're He didn't have many bills, but as a family, we're covering those as well as making flyers, doing the searches, and trying to make hot meals for searchers after they complete their search. Wondering is if there's any kind of um, funding source or something we can tap into to assist us financially. Because I know when I print a flyer, at least 50 flyers, it usually runs about $35. Um, so we're at reaching a point where it's starting to affect us financially. Um, so I think that's the biggest thing. Another thing is when we're doing searches off the side of the highway, we do want to be safe, and we're looking into um, either purchasing or requesting donations for fluorescent vests, rubber gloves, those type of items.
Okay. I'm just keep making note of this really quick.
I want to pause here, Andrea. Thank you. We do have in the chat, so Zinaba, did you want to unmute and offer some resources that the coalition provides?
Yeah, good morning, everyone. We can definitely help with the printing. I believe Vanjie has been in contact with your sister about the requests we received to help with the printing costs as well as donations for the search. But if there's anything else we can help with, just let us know. I'll send out the email right now and copy Vanjie. But just let us know. And thank you, Kayla, for sharing your story with us. I know it's tough, but know that all the resources we're all here working together to help you.
Okay, thank you. And then I just had one last comment. As far as all information, I guess you could say I'm being the point person, just for your information. And Bernadine has been really helpful on giving us tips, and giving us information as well. So I just wanted to recognize Bernadine has really been helpful. She's just been um, really, I don't even know what the word is, but um, uh, tactful and graceful with how she speaks to us. So we just definitely appreciate that. And Also to Chastity as well. I'm just in amazement. the resource she was able to connect us with. So I definitely appreciate it. And then Ms. Crowdy, I did have a question. Is it okay if I post the flyer and a photo in the chat?
Yes, absolutely. So I wanted to ask Tatiana, she helps our media component of the tribal community response plan. Tati, do you have any suggestions as a team how we could support amplifying uh, Erin's case? I did see in the chat, Banji has provided some local resources. We also work with some of our national partners when it comes to media, but we want to make sure that it's respectful and meets the needs of the family. Tatiana, can you give us some guidance or how Kayla, once she provides those flyers and what information we could assist with when it comes to media?
Hey, can everyone hear me?
We can.
Okay, I'm gonna share my screen really quick. Let's see. Yep, right here. Are you able to see my screen?
We are.
Okay, so in the TCRP, the Tribal Community Response Plan, we did prepare a communication section. Let's see, and we do have the family interview checklist. Let me just scroll down. Mm, Okay, that's the part that we need to add in there. Specifically when it comes to the media section, what would I'm sorry, can you repeat the question?
Sure. So Kayla needs help in getting news outlets to amplify her father's disappearance. And so she's been able to speak with Navajo Times, but is looking for more of, expanding that reach. So Vanjie in the chat provided some local resources. Uh, and Kila's going to share her father's flyer and some additional information. But what could we do collectively to help pull together like a media packet or use some of our connections to uh, I'm thinking, of course, from this meeting, like a press release um, to amplify and look at the Facebook post. Chanela, I'm going to ask, um, in terms of an advocate, and this could be a lot on the family in getting individual, tips or recommendation. We had talked about is it best, for a hotline? So Vanjie, I was thinking, in the work that you've done, is what are some areas that we could best recommend to support the family, but also balance and not overwhelm them with what we all know happens when it does get to a larger public audience. There can be like intimidation and harassment. So I just want to make sure we're covering those bases. So Tatiana, let me have you pause on that, and I'm going to go to Chanela. Laurel, do you have any recommendations in terms of what are some best practices that we could help support the family when going to the media?
Yeah, it definitely. So I can review what she has and prepare what she's got and start sending out to local news networks. But I definitely would like to see what she has. So we're supposed to be, I need to reach out to her. It's been a busy past 36 hours. But yeah, we can definitely do that. But I had another question in regards to the search. Can you clarify that? Well, I guess we can run drones tomorrow. We have the time. I don't know when your next search is, or if you have any areas that could use that the drone reach. We've got a couple of them that we can put up tomorrow. But we can definitely help with that and push those media pieces out. I definitely would like to see what it is first, and then from there, what the family's comfortable is going to be, what the family's comfortable sharing, And then, of course, just doing a review, ensuring that there's a safety piece. I definitely would like to tap in and utilize the Navajo Nation's tip line, just because it is with law enforcement, so they do get those tips. But I think it's also important that we monitor that there's follow through on those tips as well too. So I don't know how the nation can help with that piece, or if the family is comfortable with using law enforcement as that tip line. So I'd also like to see how law enforcement would like us to proceed, since this is an ongoing case.
Okay, thank you, Chanel. I appreciate that. We're just gonna do right now is just the community-based resources, and then I'm gonna go to Chief Silversmith and their team on how they're supporting the family, so that they get an idea of the actual amount of resources, personnel, and compassion is needed to help support a family. So Tatiana, did you have anything else when it comes to media? Um, but I like that sense is let's talk about what's best in terms of tips and where the family's at. So we won't make that decision here, but that'll be in part of building up, sending out that communication. Uh, where would these where does the family feel like they would want that information, and how is law enforcement going to help? So I don't see Shada Yolanda Azua on the line from the president's office. So what I'm gonna do, just thinking about how this runs through executive. So my assumption it's president's office. And so we'll go to Chief Silversmith. I think you're the only one on the line, triage right now from police department. And then we'll move over to Malcolm to help support the family in terms of, I'm gonna pull up my document on how when a case is reported and what that looks like. And so Shiaj, if you could share with us, not, again, we're never asking in a public setting, updates on like evidence, updates on investigations or interviews. What we're simply asking for is the communication and the collaboration. So help us understand, because as you could hear from the families, they do have, I wrote down a few detectives' names that I'm not familiar with, but I don't know everyone who's part of the MMU unit and how that all works internally. So Chief, if you could give us an insight. I don't see your PIO on the call or the sergeant, so we'll rely on you to provide us guidance on where we're at with Aaron's case and how and what we should look forward to in terms of communication and collaboration. Shiaj, Chief Silversmith, you have the floor. And you would have to press *6, or I think you could unmute yourself from your end. Chief Silversmith, are you able to unmute? Okay, we might be having um Twilight.
Maybe the host can help unmute him too if he's having issues, whoever's hosting this.
Okay, appreciate it. Tatiana, are you able to unmute Chief? Just to make sure we're
I
able
did
to.
ask for him to unmute. He hasn't unmuted yet.
Okay, so Twyla, can you connect with PD and request that Chief get on the line? That would be great. And so we'll move, let's see. Malcolm, Shiaj, do you have any insight in terms of communication when a case is referred to CI, and and then what can we anticipate and how to support the family with? I think a lot of community members, families, especially when you're in crisis, do not understand the dynamic of what it means to be referred to CI. So if you could just give us a little bit of that background, and then as a as a supervisor or the director, then what are next steps in terms of how we could support the family uh, with the criminal investigators. Malcolm?
Good morning. Thank you for having me this morning. And when we receive case referral, can you hear me?
Oh, we can hear you. Yes, thank you.
When we receive a case referral from the NPD side, we go over the information they shared with, and start formulating a plan of operations that we need to we need to address those issues that are going on if we see any. And here I'm looking at this, I'm listening, and I've taken quite a few notes on this, and I'm also getting a hold of the supervisor out of Kienta, and I'm gonna address the need for us to get, with the family and start working this diligently. And when we get that, what really comes out of this is all the information that's handled. Has it been done properly? Has it been documented properly? We're looking at this in a point of view of if there's any criminality involved in this. Is there, what is it that we have to do to salvage anything and everything that's available to us if we do have to go charge anybody. That's just an example. But the jackets and everything, I'm addressing that as soon as we get done with this meeting. I'm going to have a lengthy conversation with the supervisor and get a investigator attached to this so we can start running with what we have and to keep the family informed. And I apologize to the family that, this is going on. It shouldn't be going on like this. We should all be working together jointly. And I'm glad that, this has come out and we can address this. And we'll get to the bottom of this, and we'll keep the family informed. It's very, very imperative that the Criminal Investigations Department works with the family and getting them the answers. And if we can't answer them, then we'll explain why. If we, certain things that we can't discuss. But for me personally, the family is paramount in this because they need answers. And I always look at this as you look at your family. What would you do if your family was the one that, you're missing person? We treat everyone the exact same way, diligently, compassionately, and ethically. And so these things are the things that, I have to address, and as well as the criminal investigator that's going to be tied to this. And Ms. Benali, rest assured, um, does the police, number one, how do we contact the family member, and who's the point of contact? Because those are important things that we need to get so we can address all of this and then work from there. But just from the short contact that I had with the supervisor this morning, he is working with PD. They are working with PD, but I will get a investigator attached to this so we can have more solid ground to work from and get these answers addressed, to include, once this is all done, if there's any resources that we need, then we'll contact them, such as FBI and other agencies and police departments in the surrounding areas, to start coordinating with them. So rest assured, I'm on this. I'm going to take care of this, and I'll have the criminal investigator get a hold of the family, and we can start working from there.
Appreciate it, Shia, helping us understand the dynamic, the internal dynamic when it comes to communication. Appreciate that you're going to do your best to try to improve the communication with the family. Keila, did you want to? I know you shared your information in the chat, but if you wanted just to give, I wanted to give you some time in terms of like reflection. in what your needs are right now after hearing from the criminal investigators.
Thank you so much, Mr. Leslie, for hearing us, and I appreciate the follow-up that will be done. That's kind of where I feel like we've been uh, I guess I see it as kind of like hitting a brick wall, trying to see what further we need to do, especially with the items that we still have at the house. Um, uh, my dad's bedroom, we put the items in a bag and we put it in his bedroom, and we closed the door. So everything as it was when he was last there, it's still, we haven't touched it. It's still there, and it is hard to go back to the home that we're raised, and he's not home, and having his door closed like that, knowing those items are still in the house, where I would feel better knowing if law enforcement could pick it up. And I don't know if it has anything to do with his missing person case, but we definitely just would appreciate some direction. Um, I I was the one who reported my dad missing, so I've been with the contact that's listed there with Kanta Police. And all the correspondence that I've been doing with both Detective Benali and I believe it was Officer Stevens has all been through email. And I have to say, initially, the response was really great. Through acknowledgement that they're receiving anything that we're finding and sharing with them. But after some time, it was just silence. So it's nice to know that this it'll be be looked into more. Um, and our goal is just to find our dad. Again, he was on insulin medication. Uh, and my hope of finding him alive has really diminished, especially with the cold months that are here now. And we just don't know where he is, and we just want to find our dad and bring him home.
We appreciate you, Kayla, so much. We appreciate you so much. Okay. So in terms of law enforcement, we have the connection. We assisted, not we, I mean, it's a collective. The community, whether they're part of the task force, community members, will assist with the media. And if Ms. Gomez is going to connect folks, I think it's just to make sure that it's trauma informed and the support that you need. Malcolm, let us know in terms of the tip line, what are some benefits or some challenges if the family decides to move forward with the tip line. We do know if you could help us connect, if this is a case that BIA could assist with the reward for any type of information, that would be helpful and beneficial. For Navajo Nation, part of our law, we do have a Crime Stopper portion of the law that I found. um, it doesn't look like there's funding available, but that doesn't mean that we could swiftly make a request for all the families who are looking for support and work with the council and the president's office to make sure that there would be funding available for that Crime Stoppers and how that's being deployed out of public safety. We do have an shut it. Sunshine, just let me know how comfortable you feel about this. You're on the line as a community representative, but last week we talked about Operation Rainbow Bridge. And so Kayla did mention the family is monitoring their insurance and trying to connect with if her father might potentially be in a treatment center. Could you just give us an idea on who to connect with Operation Rainbow Bridge so that they could assist the family with their connections in terms of monitoring the insurance and working with the state uh, access and other providers when we have a missing relative. Oh, and I'm sorry, I see a hand, but give me one moment to see who that is. Keila?
Sorry, I just had a real quick question. I know it was mentioned there's a toolkit to complete. And I believe, shoot, I forgot the name. Mentioned completing a toolkit in the email correspondence from yesterday, but I'm just wondering where can we access that?
Sure.
They did said it was on MMDR.
Okay,
Um,
so let's put that in the chat. Vanjie or Zenaba, if you could just put that in the chat. And what it is just like another guideline. All of the, what you're hearing from here, all of the recommendations, and it just gives families a roadmap on communication, especially when it gets harder as the days go by. So we'll put that in the chat for you.
Okay, thank you. And I just also wanted to say again, thank you so much for all the resources that it's definitely overwhelming, but in a good way to see all the resources in the chat. I'm definitely noting these down, and I feel like we have a direction to go. So just thank you so much, everyone, for all of your input, your contacts. We definitely appreciate it so much. Yeah.
And Keila, we understand this could be overwhelming, and so working with Laurel, once you get if you agree, you want to have an advocate, it's the advocate who's trained to also have these resources. So they'll be there as, as an individual standing by you to, help you navigate this whole system. So our expectation is never that you as a family member should be the expert in these resources. And that's why we fund different positions so that they could help the family. So Laurel will help you connect with someone and they'll be able to assist too. So definitely never feel like you're alone in this. We've collectively learned all of these resources by advocating for our own families. Majority of those who are on the call have a missing relative, have been part of search and rescues, have tried to navigate the system. And so collectively, we're just trying to make sure other families are supported. So I appreciate that your willingness to be here and to connect. It's also very hard as we get ready, as honoring your dad's birthday that's coming up, some of the holiday seasons. We just want to reassure you that you're not forgotten and your dad is not forgotten. And that's why we continue to come together to make sure families know that and that they return home is our goal. So appreciate it. Sunshine, did you want to give us just anything on maybe just if you know anything about Operation Rainbow Bridge and who could be the contact? Or we could work on getting that information before we provide it to Kayla, just as another resource if her father may possibly be in a treatment center.
Yes, good morning. I'm Delegate Crotty and to everyone on the call. I don't mind answering the question. I think it's important to, be able to share what we are aware of from our work with the division. Right now, someone did put Operation Rainbow Bridge in the chat, and so that's the current information for Kayla and her family to utilize that number. That email, and then we do have a web page as well that has additional information for Operation Rainbow Bridge. And then I would say for the access issues, as far as whether someone has been taken by the fraudulent sober living homes, we coordinate that with law enforcement as well as with DBMHS for the Navajo Nation, the Department of Behavioral and Mental Health Services. So Vera John, who is the manager, she would be key to helping to get your father's identification and looking in the system to see if anything's showing up. So I'll also put her email in the chat, but her email is also on the website for Operation Rainbow Bridge. And we send our prayers to you, Kayla, and your family.
Thank you.
Okay, and I know Kobe is with the Department for Behavioral Mental Services. Kobe, in hearing Kayla's and the family story, just let Ms. Vera John know that um, the request will be made, uh, and that this is an issue in terms of uh, maybe giving us or helping us when in our tribal community response plan that there should be a section there on looking for our relatives through the information that is accessible through the Department of Health. And so maybe that's a component you could help us. And again, I'm not sure how, if there's already communication with law enforcement and behavioral health, but it will just be nice for us to know how families can request that information, and it could be an additional resource for families. Is that something you feel comfortable with doing, Kobe?
Kobe's trying to unmute himself, so let me try and help on my end. I've been trying to help him unmute.
Okay, yeah, and I apologize. Sometimes we have some technical issues that we're not really sure why Zoom. But I wanted to go back to Chief Silversmith. I'm not sure, Yaj, if you're able to unmute. Let's see what's going on here. Chief, if you're not able to unmute, if you could just ask your team, Sergeant and your team to connect with the family so that they have a point of contact beyond the patrol officer and the detective, but in terms of communication and how your team is pulling that together. Okay, Kobe, I see your hand is raised. I know you're trying to unmute. Let's see. Let me go just. Okay, try right now. There we go. We can hear you.
Good morning.
Oh, good morning.
My apologies. What was your question again? I was trying to unmute, was having some technical difficulties.
Oh, no problems, Kobe. My request is if you could work with Vera John and let her know that Aaron Begay may be possibly in the system, and if working with the family and how they work with law enforcement, if they could assist in monitoring. The family right now is monitoring his insurance, but I'm not sure what resources Vera would have access to in all of our coordination with Operation Rainbow Bridge. So that's the immediate request. And the second part is if you could help us working with Operation Rainbow Bridge. So that could be part of our community response plan that we just notify behavioral health when there's a missing relative. And so that could be something that we can monitor on our end if their information is used in any, whether it's treatment center or whatever collaboration they have. And does that make sense, Kobe?
Yes, just about. I'll send a request to Vera and see what can happen.
Okay, appreciate it. And then work with and then give us a response back. And the response back is, it could be, it's not the immediate dire need, but what is the best way to make that request to the Operation Rainbow Bridge team when it comes to a missing relative? It would be part of our response plan, and so it'll just be another resource for the family to monitor out there. What we also can do while I'm thinking of this, relatives is at one point we were working with a vendor who does photo recognition. Um, Malcolm, just let me know in terms of if law enforcement is connected. I always forget his name, but he's the gentleman that helps us with the DNA evidence processing at the Texas University. Um, he was also in connection with some photo um, resources, or we could also reach out to gaming, as I do know they have some similar technology that they use in their gaming security. And it's just a way for us to insert a photo and see if there's been any recent hits on any system out there for one of our relatives. So that's something that also could be just an additional resource. I know we don't have any descriptions like of a vehicle, but if there was, the work that we're doing with the license plate readers, and and those are just some of and if the phone's last ping, um, but it does sound like in my notes that we're still missing his wallet. So those are just some other recommendations in our resource, especially when it comes to the tribal community response plan and the toolkit. Um, so I just want to pause here. If there's anyone else on the line that has a recommendation for Kayla and the family or words of encouragement, this is also a good time to make sure that the family doesn't feel like they're alone. I'll share, I'm a surviving family member. At the time of my grandmother's disappearance, it was still a time of, blame and shame. And so the family took it upon ourselves to support the investigation. And so we did have to coordinate, search dogs. We had to purchase material or equipment for the CI when they were, collecting evidence. We had to provide those hot meals and the coordination, and it was very overwhelming. And and then that's when we found out there was other families who were out there looking for their loved ones. So I come to this space, not only, I'm a delegate with the ability to try to bring resources together and to advocate for our relatives, but also surviving family member. And I've learned a lot in what is needed from our families and that continued healing. And so that's the space that I try to provide for families, that there are connections here, and we're here to support. So I wanted to open up the floor if anybody else wants to give words of encouragement to Keela and her family, and also prayers that Aaron Shiaj, that gives him the strength and the ability to continue to fight, to come back home, that his family, loves and adores him, and they miss him. And we just give him that strength to come back. Thank you, Andrea. Mark Pooley. Yes, that is his name. Thank you. So I'll open up the floor to anyone else.
I do have some recommendations to share.
Yeah, the floor is.
Um, good morning, Kayla. I did share your father's photo. He's being shared right now, so his photo is being shared on the live stream. We are live streaming today's meeting. For recommendations for me, when I was working with other families out in Albuquerque, we would always do social media posts, and we would always use TikTok and Instagram because those were some of the two mostly used social media platforms out there. So what I would recommend you and your family do, start getting a video together, because it's best to share a video rather than kind of just a flyer on Facebook, because with the video more people can share it, a lot more influencers can download the video and add your social media handle with the video and share it on their platform. And in the video I would recommend of course sharing his name, his nicknames that he used, the last time he was seen, along with the area that he was last seen at, any key identifiers, his age, his height, hair color, and then of course his tattoos that he has. And if you know what type of clothing he was wearing, if you know if he was in like the type of vehicles that he drives just in case, along with the official tip line that you're going to be using. And also keep your social media up to date as possible, just so when people are sharing your information, then they'll know like, okay, this is where I'm going to go to get that updated information. And always use hashtags whenever you're going to be making social media posts, because it really helps generate more views, and it reaches a wider range of audience. And for the hashtag post, I did put that into the chat, but I would recommend using his name. I would recommend using his location. I would recommend using the MMIP, MMDR, and missing persons hashtag along with Navajo Nation, because that gives people an idea that he went missing on Navajo Nation, and they can use his name to share more. And then going into the alternative text, just kind of like, we can I can add more information about that later on, but that's just for people who are either hard at who can't read the social media post, and they can like hear it if you're going to do it on Facebook. And again, I would recommend using Instagram, TikTok, and along with Facebook, because those are the mainly used social media platforms out there. And to keep the video short, between 15 to 45 seconds, because the longer you make it, the less people will watch it from start to end. Um, let's see here. I have a few things written down and I can put it in the chat for you as well. I know it's a lot of information, but thank you for sharing your father's story with us, and thank you for having the strength to do this. I know there's a lot of families who do fear doing stuff like this, but what you're doing is very admirable, and it just shows so much strength that you have for you and your family. So thank you again for doing this.
Thank you, Tatiana. I definitely appreciate the information. We do have a Facebook page, Help Find Aaron Mark Bradley, and then we have the hashtag. So if you Google Aaron Mark Bradley, all those top hits will come up first in the feed. That's definitely something we've been working on, is hitting social media hard. We also have a TikTok with a streamer who has 30,000 followers, and he has they have put up two videos that hit I think over 10,000 views on it. So we're using that resource as well to push out videos through TikTok and through Facebook. And then also, like you recommended, using those hashtags. But I've just been constantly just putting in into Google Aaron Mark Bradley, and now we're hitting all the top hits. If you Google it, his information will pop up first. That was one thing I considered, since Aaron Bradley is a very common name. That's why we're really pushing his middle name as well. Aaron Mark Bradley really distinguishes as individual. That's definitely been helping us as well. But of course, it's something I didn't think about, or that we would have to experience, but we're also now experiencing, because we are getting a lot of these social media hits. We're also getting a lot of scammers, um, and people, or individuals out there that are um, making comments that are not too nice, such as, they'll claim they'll have my dad, kind of like phishing, I guess, and then at the end saying that he's dead. They're dropping GPS coordinates, just a lot of false claims out there. So we're just also contending with that. But we do realize the benefit of really pushing through social media, and we'll continue to do that, just because it definitely does continue to spread the word out there. So thank you, Tatiana. There's more tips that you gave that I just been writing down as well. So I appreciate that.
Hi, good morning.
Good
This is
morning.
Banji, Zachariah, Shorty's mom. I just want to, say I am sorry for what your family is going through. I can definitely relate. Um, I did include some of the media outlets, and from experience with Zach's case, I had emailed media outlets, and of course, put out flyers as in as many places as I could. And I see that Andrea also included the KTNN radio and KND, and I was gonna say the same thing. Taking those flyers there so that they could, make the radio announcements. But as far as the media outlets, email them, send them the flyers. I'm seeing more and more post of families on on the news as well. And the other, recommendations are the same as that were out there with using the hashtag and social media, and just, continue to keep up with the criminal investigator for updates. I know that we cannot, we as family members want to know like the details of the investigation, and we sadly we can't get the details, but just keeping in contact with law enforcement who was on your case, just asking for updates, and we don't get the details, but the communication part is very important. And again, my prayers are with you. Um, and God bless you. And just continue to stay strong.
Appreciate it, Banji. Thank you for those words of encouragement. Um, and all of this messaging will come out, we'll record it for our meeting notes. So Kayla, if you've missed something, don't stress out. We'll be able to send that out after this call because we have your email. It comes out maybe like within a day. Some things that were asked was, it does sound like you're working with Laurel and her team. So my hope is that a victim advocate will be assigned from victim witness of Northern Arizona, but we do know that's also confidential information. And so I did reach out right now because I also sit on the Arizona governor's MMIP task force. And so I did reach out to Valora, their MMIP coordinator at the Arizona governor's office, to ask about the Arizona Silver Alert. And if he doesn't qualify, which I believe he should, we also have the use of the Turquoise Alert. And we'll keep you posted on that communication. And if I have your permission, I could share your information with the Arizona governor's office team there. I did also suggest in the chat that we should make sure that there's also a report to the Division for Children and Family Services. They have an elder protection unit there. And so we should have a report as an endangered elder. And I'm not sure if he frequent the senior center, but they're also a space that could possibly also assist just in terms of resources or getting the information out there. So I just wanted to give you that update, Kayla, so that you don't, I know monitoring the chats can be also stressful. And if you have a media team member, because I think that's what Tatiana had recommended, so you're the point of contact for the family. And then collectively, if you can identify someone for the media team, because then they could be able to filter out all of those negative or phishing schemes. There are ways in working with Meta to filter out some of those harmful comments. And what we could do is just try to connect you with those resources so that you don't have to read those types of messages, and maybe it's filtered through a volunteer or someone who could help you navigate the social media. And so Vanji, thank you. She offered to take your father's flyer to KNDN today. And as you know, that covers the northern part of the Navajo Nation, which includes areas of Utah like Bluff and Red Mesa. So that could be another way we'll use our extended resources to help. And Tatiana did mention she has a contact with Division of Transportation, and we'll ask them to share the flyer. And we'll make sure, Tatiana, can you make sure that this information is sent over to Yolanda Azua with the president's office? So that there just could be some coordination and, um, and some joint efforts to help, the family find their father.
Yes, I've been texting her this morning and I asked her to join the call, and she did tell me that she is meeting with the constituent right now, but I will reach back out to her after this call just to give her a quick update, give her the notes, along with just letting her know that she needs to watch the YouTube live stream to get caught up to date with what's going on.
Okay, appreciate it. We're just trying to collaborate here. Thank you everyone for participating on the chat. Thank you, Andrea, for also being that liaison. Just to make sure all of Navajo Nation is activated. And in terms of printing maps, I know we talked about printing flyers. Zenabar Vanji, with your funding, are you able to assist with the printings of maps, or is it, I'm not sure, is it better just to have it like a digital file? Or Andrea, what do you recommend that's best for the families, so that they at least have that tangible document to help them with the search?
As far as safekeeping or storing the maps?
Yeah, well, should we get them a printed map? Because we could request that from Navajo Department of Transportation. They have those large printers, so we could request like to print out the map.
Yes, yes, if
And then,
possible.
go ahead.
Sorry, if possible, if they have also an electronic copy, if they could get both a printed and electronic copy.
Okay, perfect. So let's, Tatiana, with your contact at NDOT, let's request that to be created. So their GIS team will be able to pull that data and then set up a system where all of the search and rescue folks can include their information, even if it's a first, second, and as Kayla had mentioned in the third search, they found a jacket, but it just helps in terms of, where are some of the priorities, or if there's volunteer search teams, maybe they're the ones that do the second or third search just to help support the family. We often did that we helped when we helped other cases.
Okay, I will reach out to them after this call, and I'll work with Andrea to make sure that I'm getting all the accurate information.
Okay. Another ask from Kayla and her family was hot meals for search and rescue. I know this has kind of been somewhat of a challenge, but is there anyone here who has an idea on who we could reach out to request hot meals? I was going to see if any of our to see if there's any kind of networks there in the Canto Shanto area, if that's where the search and rescues will be concentrated. I know we talked about chapter training and seeing if there's available resources for chapters to help and assist with some donations for snacks and possible hot meals. That's still some areas that we're still working out, but maybe there could be coordination where Yolanda and the OPVP's office can help if there's any resources. But does anybody have any recommendations for hot meals for upcoming search and rescue efforts?
Shade, I'm not sure, I thought at one point MMDRC said they might be able to help with food for searches. I'm not sure if that's still the case.
Okay, perfect. Zinabar Vanji, can you give us an update in terms of if you're able to support and what that looks like so we could help assist the family for future searches when it comes to meals, snacks, hydration? We could work within our networks to see how we could support, but we would just need to know like an idea on what to request and what the coalition, your timeline in terms of if you're able to support any food and hydration during any additional search and rescue missions.
Yes, as we mentioned, Vanjie was able to drop off some water and food donations for one of the searches, and we're coordinating with our team and Kayla via email to go over a budget request to see for other costs, including the vests, including printing the map to see what we are available funding wise to help cover. But we have a follow up coming up with, we're going to schedule that with Kayla after this, and also for, again, the printing as well. But we are nearing the end of our 2025. We do have a end of the year budget meeting. So that's why yeah, we're requesting just additional information like receipts to be reimbursed or invoices, or to just, I'm not sure how much the large maps cost, or for the reflective vests, but we added, we took note of that.
Okay, appreciate it. So if we could get that list, and maybe we could, from this, collectively pull together what would be, what would help the family in terms of donations, because they may not know what they need, but collectively we could support that request. And then if you could send that over to Tatiana, and I could request from the Office of the Speaker to possibly like make those requests to some of our enterprises or others who may have be wanting to support but not necessarily know how, or we can direct them to the coalition, MMDR coalition, and you could work with them if they're able to provide any type of like donations and help us coordinate that front. Kobe, I just also remembered that Department of Health, with some of the ARPA money, they did purchase um, supplies, protective supplies. So if you have like a surplus of gloves, that was also requested from the family. Maybe even possibly masks if individuals, and some of those protective gear, hand sanitizers, everything that you would need to protect yourself when you're out there in a search. So that's also something maybe Navajo Department of Health or Behavioral Health may have access to and could provide as a donation to the family as they navigate these search and rescues. Kayla, I know it's a lot, and we're here for you. Is there anything else in terms of is there anything else that you want to just mention as we close out this meeting? And we'll just continue to strong prayers for your family and for your dad to return back home.
Thank you so much for everything again, for all the resources and tips. I just took a deep breath right now because it's very great. I feel like it's going to really help us move forward, and just really rejuvenating my energy to continue searching for my dad with all the resources backing us up. It feels really good to be heard, and to have all these resources come together, and I'm excited to see what it brings in the future. I know my dad would be very appreciative of everyone banding together for him. Um, my dad was a pastor at Cal Spring Full Gospel Church for many years. He did retire, and he was also a Presbyterian minister at Kanta area. So I just also wanted to acknowledge the churches in the area in Shanto and Tunalia. They've been really helping with boots on the ground and doing line searches, providing food. So the church community has been great with helping us and providing prayers as well. And I definitely would be greatly appreciative if there was a silver alert that could go out. Right from the beginning, we did request for a turquoise alert, but we were told that exhaustive efforts have not been made yet. And then during the last contact I had with the Kansas Police Department, they told me he did not qualify, so there was no turquoise alert that was going to go out. So if there was a silver alert that could go out, that would be really great. And I know, Ms. Crowdy, you mentioned if it would be okay to share my information with the governor's office. Yes, I totally feel comfortable with my information being shared for contacts. If anyone wants to reach out to us, we'll be greatly appreciative of any of those contacts. And I know Laurel, excuse me if I mispronounced your name, but mentioned drones as well. Drones is one thing we've been really trying to get a hold of because in the Cal Spring area, it also links with Black Mesa. So just about a quarter mile from where my dad's home is, that Mesa is there. So that also makes the search difficult because he did go hiking at times. And during the time he was missing, it was still pretty warm. So we've been doing our best to try and cover that area, but the terrain is really difficult. So the next search that we're planning is going to be in the new year, but we're going to do a call for anyone with 4x4s, ATVs, horses, drones, so we can try and cover that area on the mesa. There's also a local dump that used to be used. It's been many years, probably about 20 years since it was used. But we also want to cover that area, and it's about a mile from his home. But the terrain is really difficult to get to. But I know Laurel mentioned drones, but I think that's another area we would need assistance on is if anyone had access to drones that we could use in the area as well. But yes, thank you so much on behalf of my family for all the information, for listening to us. We're definitely appreciative for everyone dispersing his information and his flyers. The more we get the word out, I feel someone who has seen something or heard something might be able to call in that information and we could be able to locate him. So thank you again so much, everyone. I appreciate it.
Oh, yeah. Okay, sis. Tatiana, if you could also, I'm reminded, I know that we did a push to get some more radio spots for PD. If we could just see if there's some resources available, and we wanted to find resources for billboards, and any of these digital, I don't know what you call them, when, like at gaming, if there's someone at gaming that could share the flyer, that would be helpful too, in terms of using just all of our resources as Navajo Nation enterprises and our partners. So if we could keep that, I'm not sure what that, I wanted to call it a kiosk, but it's just that digital sign. That could be a way, if it's more on the sophisticated side, it could share the photo and with the at least the contact information if anybody has seen Shiaj. So thank you for that and those recommendations. We'll end the call, everyone. Yes, take a breath. Just get yourself together. Look around. Look for 5 things that you could see in your vision. Pick out 4 different colors that you can find. Smell 3 different things. Feel 2 different areas, hard and soft. And take your breaths just so that you could regulate your emotions and continue. This work is hard. It's challenging, but it's the work that we collectively are doing for our relatives. And our hope is that we put up enough steps as prevention that no one would ever try to take one of our relatives again. So we appreciate all of you. Kayla, we meet here every Tuesday at this link and this number. You'll be connected by email, and it's always up to you whether you want to come on. If you're not able to, it's recorded. We started live streaming so that families can connect when they feel like they want to hear some of the work we're doing. And I'm hoping this helps another family who hasn't reached out or may not even have contacted the police department, but there are resources available. And we try to do our best to meet all of the families with the resources we have. And we know there's so much more that we have to do collectively. So thank you. You're also part of this prevention and making sure that we're all, taking care and looking at, taking care of our parents, checking in on our elders, making sure our children are safe because we want everyone to be safe and just live in just live in a safe community. So appreciate you and we'll connect soon.
Delegate Crowley, I have a quick question.
Go ahead, Kobe.
So regarding the requests, who would be for more questions on this request, who would the contact person be? Would that be Tatiana?
And Kayla's also said that she's comfortable with the direct request. So if you want to share Kayla's information, it's in the chat.
Okay, thank you.
Appreciate it. Okay. All right, everyone, I'm gonna wrap up and end this call. Be well, and we'll take care of one another. Hagone.